One of the most important things to getting better in PvP in really any MMO is, besides practicing and knowing your build, is knowing what every other build in the game can do. More specifically in New World's case, that is knowing what all of the other weapons can do. Knowing each weapon's threat and knowing how to avoid that is arguably the first step in getting better at PvP. And luckily, the thing that a lot of new players have, that a lot of us didn't have when the game first came out, is Arena. Now, Arena is definitely my favorite way at just accelerating the pace at which I get better at PvP. Now, depending on who you ask, Arena is either a pretty fun experience or a complete waste of time and completely unbalanced. And the reason for that is, the big one is because of the fact that the matchmaking is completely random. But on top of that, especially if you're a newer player, going up against other players whose gear score is maxed is pretty daunting and difficult. That is one of the things that is getting changed next patch in the Brimstone's update, though. I don't believe it's getting normalized across the board, but I know that if your gear is not at least 600, then it'll get raised to 600 in arenas. Now, even with those two things, even now, I still believe that there is a ton of value that you can get out of Arena, because it is a very, very quick back-to-back PvP experience that you can get into, assuming that there's people queuing for Arena on your server. But it is a compact, tight, focused, small-paced PvP. And that, in my opinion, is the best way to learn all of the other weapons in the game, because you're only going to be going up against 3 other players, rather than a potential of 20 in an OPR. Now, as I mentioned, matchmaking can be really, really rough sometimes. As you can see in the background footage here, the enemy team has a healer, and we do not. So some matches can definitely be just a straight up loss depending on what the compositions are. But I do believe that there's something that you can take away from almost any match to make you a better player. Now, as you just saw with that match on the screen, one of the big things that can kind of shift the momentum in matches is one of the teams having a healer. And there's some other things that go around the healer that make that kind of matchup so strong. One of them being having a mage, especially with an ice gauntlet, is a really, really good cover for the healer. But we do have another match here where we have another match where our team doesn't have a healer and the enemy team does have a healer. And jumping into the second round here, you see our teammate does end up going down. And as I almost do end up getting this hammer player down, he gets topped up by the healer there. And I end up getting caught, take a lot of damage. I'm able to stay alive momentarily here, but being that this healer can essentially just straight up top them up, it makes it to be a very, very hard fight. So that is one of the things that is a takeaway, I guess, from this match. Now, I know it seems obvious, focus the healer, but it is a little bit more than that. Knowing what weapon they have as their back weapon is going to be the thing that kind of allows you to actually chase down the healer. This healer here does have a rapier, and the biggest thing that you really need to watch out for is riposte. And as you saw there, riposte is a fairly easy ability to avoid. As long as you dodge after you proc the ability, you see you can manage to avoid the ability rather easily, but we still do end up getting caught there. Now, jumping into the third round here, again, I'm going to pretty much just focus my attention on this healer the entire time. And luckily, we do end up getting some help from a teammate as he has the same idea. You see we land a skewer to stagger him and get him slowed. Our teammate follows up with a beautiful gravel, and we end up taking out that healer very, very quickly. Now, one of our teammates does go down as well, but we do have that healer down, so it's now going to be down to just a straight up match of PvP here. Now, unfortunately, you see we do end up getting caught in a really, really nasty hammer combo there. we get stunned by one of the shockwaves, and both of them follow up with a disgusting heavy attack combo, and we get taken out. So even though you are able to focus down that healer, is not always a guaranteed win, and we are left to match point, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to play very, very tight here. But another takeaway from that round, though, even though we managed to take out the healer, is we need to watch out for those hammer stuns, because especially considering they have two of them, we can end up pretty much just getting blown up from 100 to 0. Now, again, with the help of our teammate, he has the right idea of following up on our damage, and we do manage to take out that healer very, very quickly again. And this time, we do have our third teammate up. He does a really, really good job of having the other enemy teammates' attention. We get them both very, very low, and I land a beautiful sweep there, which allows us to follow up with a pretty nice victory. But we are on match point here, and again, focusing down that healer and watching out for that hammer lockdown is going to be really our two main goals for this matchup here. Now, we already have the flesh out of the healer, so his really big sources of mobility is already gone. Knowing that he has parry, instead of going for the root there out of this vault kick, I decided to just go for a sweep right away just to get some damage in. Again, our teammate follows up, and even though I have to kind of disengage there to get my health back, our teammate does a very, very good job of following up the pressure, and as I'm able to top myself up, we follow up and get a really, really nice finish on that healer. We are in the same situation as that earlier round, though, where our other teammate is down, and we are pretty much on the back foot here trying to avoid these healers. Now, you see my teammate here is trying to do as good of a job as he can of staying alive here, but already we've done a much, much better job than that previous round, where we haven't really gotten caught by Hammerstone yet. Now, I do get caught in a gravel, but I managed to stun one of the players, so at least we won't get bursted by both. And I just managed to make it out, as we do get some assistance from our teammate there with some follow-up. We follow up on a skewer on this Great X player trying to run away. He does damage us really, really well, almost lands the kill, but we get a beautiful lockdown with the spear, as our teammate there has the other enemy teammates on a very, very low amount of health. We were able to kind of fall around that pillar there and get a beautiful kill. But yeah, a really, really, really nice match there. Now, following up that last match, we're going to have a very, very difficult match as we run up against a almost impossible combo to get away from when played right. Now, jumping into this match here, I usually try to focus the ranged opponent first, as leaving them alone usually proves to be a pretty annoying time. You see, we land a beautiful combo there, and we manage to take out the bowman very, very quickly there. But the second we get staggered by the sword and shield player, the teammate falls up around the corner with an ice shower, where we already used pretty much two of our dodges prior to getting rooted, and we end up getting taken out as we have no more options to escape. I believe these players are dueling, and when running up against a combo like this, it can be very, very, very difficult to stay alive when they play their combo correctly, because the sword and shield not only has a very, very powerful stun through shield bash, where they can pretty much just get a free follow-up with the ice shower. The mage can also follow up off of a stagger and also get a free ice shower. And then on top of that, the mage is running Ice Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet. So you get staggered and damaged into a root, into another root on the Void Gauntlet, and by the time you're able to move, unless you have a healer or you manage to avoid a lot of damage or get a stun off, you're probably going to die. So we end up getting taken out on that first round there. Knowing what to look out for, I tried to see what I can do here to not get caught by the combo again. On top of that, we also are playing with two bow players, so we have no real melee pressure to follow up and help us with these situations. And you see, I tried to avoid the stun there again. We managed to actually block the shield bash, but a ton of pressure being followed up on us with, and that's one of the big weaknesses of this build that we're running here. is it has virtually zero mobility. So even though we were able to avoid the stun and the ice shower, they do follow up and are able to finish us off there. Now, there is a way around most situations, I do believe. As I mentioned, my teammates are both bow builds, so we don't have any close range melee or CC to assist us. But one of the things we can do is play around the fact that we have two ranged teammates. So instead of trying to push the enemy team this time, what we're going to end up doing is try and play a lot more patient and let our teammates try to buy an opening for us. So we stick back this time behind the pillar and we kind of just let our teammates do work here. And you see I'm going to try to just body block here and there and throw a little bit of harass. But I just want to see if I can find an opening. And you see our teammates do land a pretty decent amount of burst. He does pop a potion and I still remain patient. But as they try to follow up on our teammates, I do find my time to go in as they are not focused on me. We get a beautiful sweep on two of the opponents there. And our teammates are able to finish off one of the opponents as their attention is not on us. And again, he gets very, very low, being that his attention is focused on our two teammates there. And we were able to follow up with a really, really beautiful vault kick there to get a kill. So a really, really, really nice turnaround there. Now, final round, we're going to go ahead and try to play with the same idea here if we can. You're going to see I'm going to go ahead and play it patient again. But the enemy team does adapt. And you see, even before I can react to that shield bash, we get caught in the stun. Immediately, the mage follows up with the ice shower. And then, unfortunately, we do end up going down there. Definitely a winnable match for sure. As you see, we were able to pull a win out during that second round there. But again, that's the thing about New World that I love so much is it comes down to how you actually play the match. These builds that we were up against weren't super, super hard counters to us as we were able to pull it around. But the enemy team definitely played better than we did. We got caught in the shield bash there right in the beginning of that round, and the better team won, and the enemy team wins a really, really well played match here. Now, last but not least, we have definitely one of the strongest matchups for this build in particular, which is pretty much any range build. Mobility is one of the things we lack. And going up against, especially bows and muskets, is something that's pretty hard for us to deal with on this build if we can't find a way to close that distance. And not only are we going up against a bow, but we are going up against 3 bows in this match. So it's going to prove to be a pretty tricky one for sure. We try to go ahead and close the distance right away, and I try to follow up on our Gredax player there to see if we can find an opening to find a kill early. Unfortunately, though, he does end up getting caught into a parry stun. I think we both end up getting caught there. And they're able to finish him off rather quickly. I try to follow up and get in the way and just provide some aggression to buy our teammates some time to get out alive. But being that it's 3 bow builds, they end up just shooting behind me and taking out our teammate anyways. So yeah, this is going to definitely be a tricky match for sure. But the way to deal with any range build essentially is going to be line of sight and closing that distance. So patience is going to be a really, really big thing here. Instead of just charging directly into their team, you see we go ahead and try to play that pillar this time. I proc the parry and we pretty much get that really, really strong defensive ability out right away. I do a pretty good job of avoiding a lot of damage and getting a lot of cooldowns out of all of the players there. Our Gredax player is doing a really, really good job of buying the attention of 2 of the players there. But we do unfortunately end up going down as I am just taking a ton of pressure from every angle. And it's left to a 2v2 here as they do manage to take out one of the bow players. After a very, very, very long match though, which got down to the Ring of Fire, our teammates do pull out a win, which does pull some weight off of our shoulders here. But yeah, a very, very tough matchup indeed, excuse me. This time, I go ahead and try to play that pillar, and instead of fully committing to the offense there, you see we try to go ahead and bait out some abilities and we make our way back behind the pillar. I noticed that one of the enemies does try to go ahead and make a flank on us. We land a pretty nice scream on both of those players there, get a really good amount of damage in on both. We almost get taken out, but I just go ahead and have that line of sight close to me so that I can just retreat and pretty much take away their only means of damage by using that pillar. Our teammates follow up on one of the Bowmans that we do get low though, and then we're left to a 3v1 as we were able to actually finish out a pretty clean round here. That's the thing. As I mentioned, there's a way around most situations in this game depending on how you play, and by switching aggro essentially between the three of us and by using line of sight, we were able to take out those bow players one by one. Last round here, match point for us though, we are going to go ahead and try to play the same idea. The enemy team should be kind of pushing out around this pillar here and not allowing us to just use it as line of sight, but they're kind of just committed to being that straight up barrage at the back of their base there. Our teammate lands a grab wall. We land a beautiful vault kick into two of them, get a ton of damage. Our bow teammate there follows up, lands the kill on one of them. We follow up with our Great Axe player to get a kill on the second retreating bow player there, and it looks like the last player kind of gives up here as he realizes that it's a loss. But a beautiful match here played by our team. But yeah, I hope that the video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, of course, please let me know in the comments. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.